Entrepreneur.
And this platform is supposed to be for people to grow. Greetings and salutations, Dave Moore. New episode, new guest, old friend, Mr. JD Mass. Hey, we ran into each other again a little bit ago, man. We actually sat down and had some lunch, got to exchange some memories. And this dude has some memories, man. But main thing is we talked about how to kind of make the community, our people, everybody better. And that's something that we did talk about. JD is a author of a book called Race for What. We're going to dive into that a little bit. He definitely is an activist as well, his views. So I'm going to say, man, he's nuts. So I'm going to say, hey, man, he is spot on because, you know, making people feel uncomfortable when you tell them the truth. In my opinion, you got two people that you talk to. You can talk to the king or the queen in them, or you can talk to the fool in them. When you talk to the fool in them, you kind of make them feel good. When you address the king and the queen, that's where personal growth comes in. Absolutely. But nah, man, everybody introduced you to my man, JD Mass. Let's dive right into it, brother. Let's talk about your book, Race for What, man. What made you create such a book?
So the book is stories from my journey. And as you can see, this is my high school prom picture. It is me looking very identifiable from afar compared to the rest of my friends. So it is stories of my journey. And then in my journey, I learned so much about different cultures and realized how little we learn about different cultures in our society and in our culture. It's even hard to understand that we have a culture because we don't really learn any other way. So we think this is just life, right? And so I wanted to have 7 steps to healing the harms of our culture so we can get to a place of humanity, because the level of melanin in your skin doesn't need to determine your behavior towards, being humane and a good person and all of that. Exactly. So it was really just untangling this, because living life righteously, living life and humane and caring about other people, that's a really simple thing. It's untangling this individualistic society that we have that is the challenge. So
there you go. When you talk about racism, man, excuse me, what most people say, they'll break it down and say, hey, this white guy said this to me, it made me feel some sort of way.
Right.
This black guy said this to me, it made me feel some sort of way. When you talk about racism, what's the number one thing that you would give someone advice as far as identifying and how should you deal with it?
Sure. So those things are tools in the racism system, right? That you just mentioned. Oh, this person called me this person, was a bigot. This person discriminated against me. Those are tools in the racism system, but it is a system, and systems are social systems. And so it is based on competition to control and control resources and dominate others. And that is the depth and the approach towards a culture that developed racism. And, Dr. Claude Anderson, being an economics professor and really expert, and I know that touches with you because your dad is very much into economics and whatnot. And so he says, it was originally a race of colonizers, the English, racing against the Netherlands, racing against the Spanish. And obviously the Spanish and English did the most winning in this race because, these are the 2 most spoken languages, right? And so it was that race, and it morphed into, it's easy to identify the difference between you and me from afar because I can see your skin tone is a lot darker than mine. Mm-hmm. And now we create this whole whiteness thing and now whiteness creates blackness. And now we're trying to differentiate ourselves so we can control this race that we're in. And it's really about the resources. At the end of the day, the real harm of racism and why it still exists is because we've never repaired the gap between our controlling resources and what's, available to us and with melanated skin. So
there you go. Do you think that the damage that's been done is irreversible?
No, I think that anything is healable, because I have seen people with, put on your deathbed, you're not going to make it through the night, that changed the way they ate, the way they focused on life, the way they saw things, and their bodies was able to heal. Well, the earth has, the same qualities as our bodies. It provides us with everything we need. So if we realize our connection to the earth and life, we can correct any of this. Like I said, Dave, it's real simple to think of you when I'm making my decisions and go, you know what, that might hurt Dave. Let me do something slightly different. Let me treat this a little better. And we're both going to be able to share in this. There's more than enough resources for us all to live comfortably, enjoy life, and all of that. It's really just the untangling of the harm that's being done right now. And I think this younger generation, because of the access to the internet that we didn't have, so we got our information from education or TV, they get their, or our parents passing it down, they get their information. Even if there's a bunch of lies out there, they get enough information to go, nah, what you saying ain't right. I've heard 14 different points of views on this in the last 20 minutes. So, I think that there's that opportunity to change there.
These young folks, man, they do a whole bunch of fact checking, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like us, we didn't have access to as quick of information. We might have to go get a book and look something up.
Britannica.
Yeah, you take something out to these young folks, man, and it just don't sit well with them.
Mm-hmm.
See them on their phone like, no, you ain't gonna let that slide, because this say right here that XYZ, and I don't know if you're like, man. So I think the generation coming up, I answer my own question. The generation coming up, man, is gonna do a lot of repairing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that goes, because if you simply think about it, it just don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to live holistically and you want the world and the earth to be a better place and things of that nature, it just doesn't make any sense for me to sit here and say, I don't like you because of your race.
Right.
I might not like you because of the decisions that you make.
Right.
But it can't be because you look a little different than me.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something a little more different than that. Thus, going on, you're seeing a lot more like mixed couples, a lot more races combining themselves, man. And the more you see that, the more, you start asking questions, and they're like, what? What do you mean I'm not supposed to? Man, I like, what do you mean? I like her, or I like you.
Right.
They never really figured it out that, maybe you should be with your own and you should be with your own. They look at you like, but I don't like her, or I don't like him. So you can't make me, and us, it's always listen to your parents, whatever they tell you, do what they say, don't ask no questions. If you ask questions, you're going to get in trouble. And now this generation is, I'm going to ask you 100 million questions before I even take one step towards you. So you better justify what you're telling me to do, and it has to make sense.
And I'm gonna check it as soon as I get it from you. I'm gonna check you.
That's
no,
right.
That ain't how that went.
No,
so
you can tell them a story, or even with religion. These kids now, man, they ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
They ask questions. I got to speak at a church, man, and it was a interesting thing for me to do that, because when you speak and you kind of watching the people who you talking to, you can tell who's into it. You can tell who maybe not. You tailor your words to people who are into it. But the main thing was, when you start talking, you start looking at people who maybe you're saying something that they didn't necessarily think about in that way. And then, man, I'm telling you, that influenza will kill you.
Yes.
But you start speaking to people, man, and then you see that momentary second when they realize or they get it. And they're like, oh. And then they sit back and then you can see the wheels start spinning. And for me, that makes it all worth it. If I could just get one of those, you know, that makes it all worth it.
Right.
But you start seeing people listening to what you're saying, and then you start seeing them thinking about it, and they're weighing in their mind like, well, damn, what he's saying maybe make a little bit of sense. Maybe if I thought about it that way, my situation wouldn't be like it is.
Yeah.
You know, and that realization is the number one thing to me, man. If somebody says, hey, I want you to come speak, you want to go talk to people who are going to be receptive to what you say. But in order for them to be receptive to what you say has to make sense.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who, you know, they'll start rambling, man, and they end up getting nonsensical, and you start kind of leaning back a little bit like, well, I don't necessarily know about that. Because we can sit here and we can talk about racism, you and I. Cool, no problem. Everybody can't have that conversation.
Right.
Because, like it says, it's going to turn into a race. Mm-hmm. Who can say what the fastest? Who can prove they point the quickest? Who's got more staying power? And we like, nah, man, it's just a conversation on how some people view things and how we can improve ourselves so we don't have to fit in that little box that they try to put you in.
Right.
So these 7 steps that you were talking about, man, dive into those more, man. Let's go.
So step 1, let's not take a step, right? The first thing we do is we get new information and then we're zealous. Oh, now I know it all again. And let me go help somebody and change this and do this, that, and the other, right? Mm-hmm. And so going through white anti-racism work, I met so many people that because of Trump back in 2016, oh, wow, it still is racist. And then they join this. Or because of Mike Brown happened, or they talked to a colleague at work and the things to worry about getting to work made them go, oh, wow, I never have to think about that. Oh, this world is, let me go do something about it. Mm-hmm. And we so quick to do something about it, not even paying attention to, you just learned that existed. So what you're going to do about it? You don't even know enough. So step 1 is like, let's take a step and see. One of the reasons why I don't think, especially on white anti-racism side, it has worked as well as we'd like, is we don't talk about why we came to be. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about what. That's racist. That's not racist. That's this. That's this. Mm-hmm. That's this. This just happened. Did you see how that happened? Did you, right? Oh, and then, you know, some of us can get sophisticated. You see how this whole create, mm-hmm. right? But why? What led a people to want to dominate other people on this planet? What led people to want to cause harm to other people on this planet? We have to, and that's deep psychology, that deep emotionality and intentionality behind it. You know, we don't even really learn the depth of what it takes to enslave a group of human beings.
Right.
Dave, I could beat your ass, and I guarantee you are not going to want to do what I say right now.
Correct.
Right? That's correct. Not how this worked.
No.
We used human bodies, kept them in captive so much that and then when they created babies, we used the babies mm-hmm. to create slaves. Mm-hmm. That means we intentionally raise these children with intention day after day after day. That is a depth psychology. It is not just that's a bad person because he beat that person up thing. No, it is way deeper than that. And so to really untangle that in step number 1, before we go out to move, recognizing, hey, I don't know the answers to this yet. I haven't learned about other cultures in my studies. I haven't learned about, other cultures or other ways of, or full context in the media. I haven't learned so much that I need to get an understanding. And so that's step 1.
Okay.
Step 2 is then to really acknowledge the harm of our culture. And I go beyond the anti-Blackness. I talk about it. I go in depth about it. And I talk about just this level this. So a real quick part of where I come from the why is we were in a scarcity place. This northern region where I can't be out in the sun as long as you because I don't have the melanin to absorb the sun that you have. And the sun gives us life on the planet.
Yes.
The sun gives us this life.
Yes.
We get the nurturing from the planet and we get the energy from the sun and we get life.
Yes.
I can't even participate in that, right? And where that happens, there's less resources too. That naturally, that just makes sense.
Hard for stuff to grow.
Right, harder. Right, exactly. So now I got to go elsewhere. And what do I see elsewhere? I see these people that no. So let me take a step back. So if all we got is this water, then you and I might not be so friendly towards each other because all we think we got is this amount of water. So now I'm finna drink some, and you and your family couldn't have that sip, right? So we got this zero-sum mentality, hence the competition, hence the race. And competition can make us do one of two things. The difficult thing is just focus on myself. Let me do the best, be the best version of myself, go for it. The other thing is, let me trip Dave when he come down these stairs. Let me try and cause him harm so it looks like I'm winning. And now we get this, and we're controlling the narrative. I'm a control the narrative. I still am winning. I'm the powerful one. What? I'm 5'3", out of shape. I'm this, that, and the other. How am I winning? Right. And so it's that controlling the narrative. It's controlling the resources. We teach in our economics that we are, there's a scarcity of resources on the planet. That is a falsehood. But if we teach it that way, then our approach is we're in competition to control those resources. Hence, we think we're on a monopoly board and really we're in life. And so it's an imitation of life. So what comes from that harm? We don't have a relationship with the earth the same as indigenous folks and Aboriginal folks. We don't have the health, because if I'm not getting all the resources I need, my body is not full and whole. I have to go elsewhere. And now if I'm in this competition thought and I take it elsewhere, these people are willing to share. There's more than enough. We over here kicking it. Let's do this. And you're going, no. Kill them, get them, right? And so we have never been shut down to just sit still and learn. We can all share in this. We do not have to operate in this competitive manner with each other. And so the harm that comes from that is harming our bodies, harming our planet, our food sources, all of these things, trying to control and manipulate life. Look at what I did. I met a lady that's trying to remake through Washington University here in St. Louis, a prestigious university, trying to remake breast milk through government-funded research, science. Why? Breast milk works. It's already works. Like, we don't even understand how to be connected to life enough because it already works. And we don't have to be doing all of these things that make us feel better than. So that's step 2. Step 3 is to let go of those ways and start to learn and appreciate others. Learn new ways, just letting go of that. And we got to face our desires for control, competition, power, and our fears of change.
What do you say to people who feel that changing impacts their resources, their monetary gains, things of that nature? Because some people look at that and say, man, I'm not changing. Right. Me and my family, we made it. I'm not changing. I don't care if he eat over there. That's on him.
Right.
That's his problem.
So, for one, that's why my target is them younger generations, because they haven't been usurped into this individualistic thought process. And for 2, do you know how unhappy people are trying to do exactly what you say, trying to maintain their position in society, maintain that control? It's not a happy place to do that. That's why we dance real stiff and all of that, because we're not enjoying life. And so if we can start to shift and see that we can actually still have what we need and be comfortable and travel and see the earth and experience things, I mean, that's the difficulty. That's the number one difficulty towards this change right there, is what you said, is I got, whoa, this is working for me. Right. I don't know about giving this up. Right. And then there's projections of, oh, they're going to do to us what we did to them, which is a false projection. And because there's no sign of that throughout history, as much damage as we've done to people that weren't suspecting it, bombing cities, burning cities down, slavery, all of these things, there has never been a massive rebuttal to that. So it's not in those people to do that. They just want us to please stop and let's all enjoy this planet. And if we can get to there and these younger generations understand it better, we can get there. That's why I think this is a closing of the door of this cycle right now. And we just see the grabbing of the oligarchy kind of mentality of, let me grab it all and hold it, control it as much as I can right now on this way, so to speak, out, because it's too much information being shared that lets us know that's not the right way to go.
I always say or my dad, man, my dad always said, man, if you want change, true change, as things are bred in, things have to be bred out. Mm-hmm. And the way it gets bred out is that, unfortunately for them, but the older generation, that like ideology and stuff, that shit's dying, man.
It's dying.
Like, it's dying. Like the do as I say, not as I do type attitude, like that really don't hold water anymore. Mm-hmm. Even in the business world, man, you're watching, I got to watch an industry go from grind. You'll hear the old dog say, man, when I sold cars, you young kids couldn't even handle it. Mm-hmm. This, that, and that. And now they're looking at you like, why would you let somebody talk to you like that? And you're like, what? Right. You're like, what? They're like, why would you even entertain anything? Mm-hmm. What do you mean he yelled at you? And and it's shocking because you're like, but that's what's coming.
Yeah.
And I used to struggle with it, man, because we come from hard. If you got hurt, you played through the injury.
Right.
If the doctor said you out for 2 weeks, no, nobody I know who plays sports when we play sports, whatever the length of time the injury was, they never took that amount of time.
Yeah.
It was always less. Nowadays, you're out for 2 weeks. They're taking 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, full week. And don't like it. And if I'm not ready in 2, it could be 3. Mm-hmm. And they don't care what you think. You can call them soft. You can say they not meant. You can say anything you want. They'll look you right in your face and say, yeah, but when I'm 45, I'll be able to walk. Mm-hmm. When I'm 55, I'll be able to pick my grandkids up without being in pain because I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody except for me and my family.
Right. And that's the thing, too. We call them lazy. They don't want to do as much as we did. Everybody was lazier than the past generation. Yes. So that, right. But the other thing is laziness is an uninspired response. Mm-hmm. So what are we doing to inspire them if we're making it harder and harder to pay our bills?
Y'all better get that message. Right? Laziness is what, JD?
It's uninspired, right? That is a result of being uninspired, or a reaction to being uninspired. That my son recognized his parents being stressed out trying to pay these bills, angry, complaining, working hard though, but you angry and all of this, that. How does that inspire me to just do what you did? What? Right. No, there's not that inspiration to do the same. And now that technology is so much better, that means it's more time for us to share and enjoy one another. And we're right now, that old school mentality is using that technology to try and usurp and get people out of the way and all. No, this is the time when we're going to be sharing. And so like your dad said, that's why step 3 is letting go, because we got to create that space for the new way to come, right? That letting go is so crucial to it. And it's the most challenging thing. I think it's still going up the hill. And once we get there, we'll start to come down it. And, so step 4 is really appreciating the value of other cultures. If we really learned Black history, and really not only the amount of inventions that were created that we use today, the amount of, but to really absorb all of this hate and violence and things of that nature over time, the manipulation, and still just be saying, hey, if y'all come over here and learn something from us, we could all live better. That needs to be appreciated, not just Black Lives Matter, but Black lives are valuable and their culture can be appreciated. And that's, for me, the shift. If we can appreciate the value of others, and appreciating value being financial terms, then repairing the harm is not so hard, right? Going back to your sports injury, if you get injured in sports, the coach don't say, let's say you bust up your knee and your ACL is torn. Coach don't say, hey, you got to get over that, Dave. We need you back in the game in the second quarter. Come on, man. Right? No, you're out. Right. You need time. You need energy put towards repairing that injury. You need to, there's work. There's other people that get involved. Those doctors and those team physicians can say, well, I didn't do it. I'm not helping you out. Right? No, that's not how this works. We come together, we help each other out. So reparations to me is a level of humanity. It's not a cost that doesn't have a value to it, because we're appreciating the value of others. And it's just getting us in touch with a level of humanity that we can now start to appreciate and change that culture. And so step 6 is having a new mind show us that way. Not the same old, you go through a rehab, they're going to tell you the same mind that got you in there, that's going to get you back in here. So you need somebody to help guide you through making new decisions and seeing the results of those decisions and what that new mind is. It's a new approach to life. And then we can get to step 7, which is manifesting humanity.
Oh my goodness. Y'all better get this work, man. Hey, those 7 steps, man. And I can identify and tell you, man, those probably gonna be tough for some people to do, because I think a lot of people are they're gonna struggle with the part where they say, if I change, what's gonna happen? Like it's the worst thing. Like changing just a little bit is gonna take you from where you are to sleeping under a bridge. And that's just simply not the case, man. No. It's just simply not the case. But anybody, I guess the saying is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I beg to differ. Because if you can show an old dog that this is what's best for them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do that. Yeah. Because it's what's best for them. And like you said, people who come together can create such a positive environment or a positive thing, as long as everybody's pulling in the same direction. But that one entity, it's always that one entity, man, I'm working harder than this person. Right. Man, why I got to pull a little bit? Look here, man. We all have a role to play. Yeah. If you don't like your role, then this ain't the role for you. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like your spot on the team, 2 things: get better at your craft and move up, or get off the team. That's just simply how it goes. But for African history and things of that nature you talk about, man, I get inspired, and I like to talk about it because a lot of people want to go right to racism and right to slavery and right to look what these people did and this, that, and that. And our whole life, man, we've been watching fucking Roots and Amistad and, the Lynch letters and this, that, and the third. And we've heard all of that. But what we didn't hear is like all the successes and all the good stuff. I got out of high school before I knew who Septim Observerus was. You know, I got out of high school before they taught me about Greek mythology, but I didn't know who Horus, Isis, Osiris, any of these things were until later on in life. And then you find out that the negative stuff that you heard, like we said when we met, man, on a 100-page book, the negative stuff is on page 99.
Right.
So what's on page 1 through 98?
Right.
You know, that's all the good stuff. Yeah. Well, how come I can't learn that?
Right.
How come I can't see, you know, 8,000 years of progression as far as education, as far as written language, as far as understanding that you have the ability to do something great rather than you were born on this earth just simply to exist. And a lot of us, man, you know, we fall into the matrix. We fall into that system where we think we're just supposed to exist. You know, we think we're supposed to wear the skinny man pants and pull our pants down. We think that we're supposed to do that. And then the thing that bothers me is that our role models go and do that. And that's who the kids look up to. And now here you go. I have this person who represents what's supposed to be a successful African. And now I want to be like them.
Right.
Our generation, they want to be like Mike. Everyone wanted to be like Mike. Now, if you ask yourself a question, what does that mean? What do I want to be like Mike mean? What does it mean? I want to play basketball like Mike. I want to have money like Mike. I want to gamble like Mike. I want to do all these other things. What does I want to be like Mike mean?
Right.
It's so many different ways to define that statement right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why just limit yourself to knowing the bad when it's so much good, man? If you want to take limitations off your mind, if you want to understand that you can do any and everything, the first thing you have to do is understand that you're capable of doing.
Right. Yeah. That experience, right? Experiencing something different. There was this great little documentary kind of, I think it was more of a show or maybe part of a 2020 or, 60 minutes kind of thing. But it was this Black woman that was a parole officer or something. And this white guy that was raised to be a white nationalist, Klan kind of thing. And she was his, and he was out in the boonies, way out in nowhere. And she was his parole officer. And she came over to check out where he was living. And he had the swastika sign up and all of these different things. And she just was like, man, you got so much negative stuff. Just take this stuff down. And he was like, what are you doing? She was like, get rid of all this negativity stuff. We're going to get some positivity in your life. We're going to make some changes. Yes. And just that alone, like they are close friends. It opened his world up to a whole new thing. Our system, even if they teach you information in our education system, they teach you that the results only need to be remembered till you take that test and get that score.
Right.
Not about how this impacts life on the planet. And that's right. Like I was substitute teaching when I was going through my doctorate, and I was teaching some second graders. And in the book, it talked about how when the earth creates lava, and the lava explodes through the volcanoes and it comes down, it burns everything. Obviously that's harm, that hurts or whatever. But then the soil from that ash is the most fertile soil on the planet. It's the most nutritious soil. It's just so ripe. And so I start applying that to this, but why? I'm sure we learned it to checklist that. Hey, we did teach that to you. But why don't I really know that? Right? Why don't we really practice that in our lifestyle? And that is the challenge with this culture and how that education is being used in it. So when I look at also how that reflects to this time, and these, older folks are burning it down because they can't control it and keep it anymore. And they see the change coming and it's coming up. Yes, there is going to be some pain from the heat of the lava. But boy, when they burn this thing down, it is going to be fertile soil of social interaction that we can redefine and build our own new ways of living and approaching life. And that's, I get a lot of people saying, hey, man, give that up. You ain't going to change a thing. And you're right. If I give that mentality, I'm not going to change a thing.
Yes.
But as long as I think I can, I remember being so upset one time because I want to go speak at colleges or speak at corporations or whatnot. And I started thinking they're not going to bring me in because I'm asking them to change who they are, like really at the root of who they are. And this woman who I'm working with, Brandy Blocker Anderson, she told me, she said, but all you need is that one powerful person that you reach that can get it and want to change could start a whole shift in things. So don't give that up. And that, that's really what it's about. We just need that sprout, that one seed to come up and start to grow something different.
You're so right, man. The whole reason, JD, I even started a podcast, man, it was I was watching this guy named Glenn Lundy. Yeah, shout out to Glenn Lundy, man. That's a dope dude. He was a general manager at a Chevy store. And he had a podcast called Rise and Grind. It was on at like 5 a.m. And I would watch this dude get up here on this podcast, man. And he would, like, in my opinion, I was like, this dude's nuts. This dude is nuts. But what he was saying was resonating with me a little bit. Mm-hmm. What he was saying was making me get up in the morning and at least pay attention to him. Then all of a sudden, his teachings, you finally have to break yourself down and say, man, you know what? I want to be better. But in order for me to be better, I got to go through some sort of suffering, just a little bit. And when I say suffering, I'm not talking about suffering in a negative way, because suffering don't have to be negative all the time. Suffering can just mean change. Maybe I should, instead of saying suffering, maybe I should say change. No. Because you start to change and you start to evolve. Mm-hmm. And then once you understand that you're starting to change and you're seeing things differently, he always had an abundance mindset. That's the one thing, man. He always spoke in an abundance mindset. Now, fast forward to today, my man didn't shout out, dude. He's doing so good, got 800% all. This dude is doing this thing, man, and he's motivating people to be the best versions of themselves. And I sat there for a long time and I listened to my dad, man. I listened to my brothers and stuff. And they're like, hey, man, you need to do something, dog. You got to start talking to the people because they listen to you. Mm-hmm. You're at the perfect age to where I got into business very early. So I communicate with the older gentlemen. I resonate with them. We can go have great conversations and we can talk about wealth and money and things of that nature and generational wealth. But then also at 47, I'm able to go down here to these 35-year-olds and I still speak their language and I can talk to them and I can say, hey, I'm like the perfect weapon because I can get the information from the elders, bring it to the youth and then educate them. But I can also take this information from the youth and give it to the elders so they can maybe get a little bit hip to what's going on, what's truly happening.
Right.
So, once you understand that you have to be that guy in the middle and you're the guy that communicates with both sides because both sides don't get along. Mm-hmm. Some kids don't want to be like their parents.
Right.
For the exact reason that you said earlier. All you see is stressed out, hollering, yelling, screaming. And then you think I want that shit? You think I want to take the same pathway you took? Yeah, I got a nice house. Yeah, I got lights. Yeah, I got a dope car. Yeah, we got some money. But you're an asshole.
Right.
I don't want to be an asshole.
Exactly.
So, but as the person they want to be, as the parent, you're like, but don't you appreciate all the stuff I've done for you?
Right.
You're like, yeah, but you don't change that you're an asshole.
Exactly.
I don't want to be stressed out like you.
Right.
I don't want to have the same experiences that you had, and shame on us for thinking that, you ain't tougher than you're not tougher than your father. I ain't tougher than mine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we for damn sure ain't tougher than our grandfathers.
Right.
And factual matter is we not tougher than any grandfather, great-grandfather, none of them. All them men are way harder than us. Way harder than us. And guess what? I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that hard. Because that means that you're going to come up on hard times. Because that's what creates hard men.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm appreciative that they went through it so I don't have to. But now it's time for us to give back just a little bit. And you're right. There's people that say, man, I don't know why you talking that stuff, man. You putting that out there. Well, why you trying to impact people? They ain't going to listen to you. And I start thinking about my journey, JD, and I'm like, man, if you don't get away from me, I don't tolerate negativity around me. I'm not built for that. That bothers me. You want to piss me off? Start being negative around me. I'm just going to walk away, man, because I don't allow that in my presence, dude. No. We didn't work way too hard to get to where we are to allow some negativity, even in our realm of area. It just don't work out. You know, I just don't get how people don't. I guess I do get why they don't want to change. But if we can all agree that the best thing is to leave this place better than we found it, which is to secure our family legacy and make sure that when we're gone, they're still good. If we can agree on that, can't we agree that it's enough resources for everybody?
Right.
I mean, what's the hustle? I learned just recently on the map. You can look on the map right now and you can see Greenland, right? And it's ginormic up here. Then you look down here and see South America, and it's real small down here.
Right.
Then I looked at the wording right here in this little, it said South America is 9 times the size of Greenland.
Right.
And I'm like, but damn, wait.
Right.
So why if that's the case, you know it, why don't you make it that way?
Exactly.
You know, and I'm like, then you start asking other questions like, what's happening is the people in power need to recognize that you don't need to have your thumb on everybody all the time. It's okay to not do that.
Right.
Some people need to be led for sure, for sure. But it's a way to do it that we can all coexist and everybody can be happy.
Absolutely.
It's some tribes over in Africa, man, that live a holistic lifestyle, brother. That means that they all eat together. The elders eat first, then the kids, then the women, then the men. Ain't no problems. Nobody asks for any monetary. There is no money. There is no money. If he knows how to fix your fucking house, he's gonna go fix it because that's just what he does.
Right.
He's not gonna say, okay, I'm gonna fix it, but you got to give me this. Your house messed up here. Right, come on. Like we see an old lady struggling with her groceries. I'm not gonna go over there and be like, I take your groceries in for $10. Just go grab them, man, and help the lady.
Right.
It can really be in you to want to do that. I think it's harder to fight it than it is to accept it.
Yeah.
But now we just like, nope. You see bad shit happening to people, man, and you'll watch other people look there. And they just like, that ain't my business. And you're like, damn. See somebody in front of you struggling with some change and shit, come pick. And I'm sitting there watching the guy. I'm like, I know you're going to pull out $1. So I'm like, he got to. You next in line. You ain't finna just let her embarrass herself like that. My bro looked at me like, that's a shame, ain't it, bro?
Right.
God damn. Okay. Fair enough. But if that's the type of world we live in, what's the percentage what's the odds on us being able to see this change in our lifetime?
And so I think what you started off with the suffering or even the pain or discomfort of the change, if we can recognize, right, going back to that injury, you done busted your ACL. I got to cut you open to repair that change. So now something that wasn't even hurt also has to get hurt to start the healing process. And when we have the healing process, it's going to hurt. There's going to be some pain involved. But you see and you know what that result, and that's the difference, is not knowing versus knowing what the result is. That's why I've been doing a lot of really nudging people to lean on the idea of supporting Black culture, because they know what we don't know about what that life looks like more, right? That village to raise a child is real. That indigenous cultures and India and brown folks and in South America, they understand that life really is an enjoyable life. And so if we had that goal in mind, if we knew that is what we got to get through this pain and discomfort for, then when we start to rehab and we're rehabilitating and we're repairing that knee, that pain is okay. I just got to get through it. Whew, that was a sore day, right? When we go and lift weights, we tear our muscles. We literally hurt ourselves to strengthen ourselves.
Right.
So when we start to do those things, if we have a knowledge of that experience in mind, then we can start to push through that change. It's getting that experience. It's getting that understanding. It's seeing our things instead of getting our information from outside that keeps us fearful. It's really experiencing that. So we know that, yes, even in your rehabilitation, oh man, I'm feeling so good the last week. I'm going to push it harder. Ooh, you know what? Setback now. I got 2 more weeks. That's part of this process sometimes. And I may never walk exactly the same again, but that's okay. It's still better than just never getting it fixed and trying to go out and hoop on my bad knee again. Right? Like, there's still an understanding that healing plays such an important role, and it comes through working through the pain and discomfort and suffering and whatever we want to call that, and getting through that so that we can be on that other side of healing.
So I got a buddy named Javi and Marco. They're 2 brothers. They're not from here, but they bought they both have wives and kids. So they bought this giant freaking house, man, out in Lake St. Louis. Giant house, like 8 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. His family stay over here, his family over here. And I'm like, Javi, Marco, man, y'all make enough money to have your own house. And they come from Colombia. And his answer was, he's like, Davey, why would I want my own house? My brother's my best friend. His kids are my nieces and nephews, and I love them more than anything. My kids are his nieces and nephews. He loves them more than anything. We share all the bills. We share this big old house. We share all our cars. I live the life that I've been dreaming of since I was a kid, which is be able to take care of your family. And I'm like, dang. So you don't want your own stuff? I have my own stuff. But you got to share it with him. What's wrong with sharing? Right there. And I'm like, oh, I messed up. I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with sharing.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute. He's like, bro, why would I pay for this car when we can split it? Why would I pay for this giant house when we can split it? We can leave this to our kids. Our daughter's going to get married. It's a family environment.
Right.
He's like, what we trying to do is buy the house next door so we can move mom and dad and their mom and dad into that house. And I'm like, has everything we've been taught our whole life?
Everything.
Like, really messed up, man. Because you start thinking, I got 2 older brothers, man. So let's say we went and bought a compound, bought 12 acres on the pond, with a nice little lake somewhere. And then we just built a big old wall around it and built our houses on it and everything. I'm like, damn, that might just be the play. And it's all together instead of being original. They want nothing to do with being an individual.
Yeah.
They don't even think that way. Like it never even crossed his mind to get his own house without his family. Like, that's not a thing.
Right.
But over here, you know, you got a dude who don't have no kids, ain't got a wife, but he got a 6,000 square foot house. And you're like, I mean, look, I'm blessed because I was that guy. You know, I'm blessed to have a wife that's like, are you stupid?
Right.
It's just you and me. I know, but no, that ain't how this goes. You know, it's foreign to me because we talk to, you know, the big house, the big car, you know, the jewels, the diamonds, the money, the this, the that. And then all of a sudden you get somebody who like, that's not what's important. What? That's not important. It's not. No. What's important? Family values. The fact that that we have our family, that we love each other, and this, that, and that. And I'm like, all this shit is new to me because I'm trained to go out into the world and destroy it, make money, be a shrewd businessman, make sure that everybody eats and everybody's family is provided for. And then I want to go home and to a giant ass this, that, and that. She's like, why? That's just more stuff for you to fucking maintain. Mm-hmm. You don't use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And here we are, fast forward 20 years later. Yeah, she right. I can't even say she's wrong. She's right. You know, and to just think that, man, I got to go to New City School, man. I got to go to Thomas Jefferson, bro. I'd have been very blessed. Mm-hmm. And look how far I got ate up in the system. So imagine the people that didn't even have that.
Right.
Imagine how much they're ate up in that system. I'm not so sure that they can. Some of them, it's going to be very hard to come out of it. It was hard for me to come out of it.
It's two things that put me on this path. One, my parents purposely raised me in and around Black communities. So I got to experience something that's different. So that in the third grade, when I learned about Dr. Martin Luther King and the way that they taught about him, I'm like, what made him so special? What? Like all of y'all don't know this? I'm looking at adults like, really? You don't get that? Like that was special? Right. That just seemed so natural to me.
Yeah.
And so that made me start to recognize, okay, there's something going on in this planet and I want to know why that is. And then it was a day in college and I went to my grandmother's first cousin's 90th birthday. And it was at this fancy place and everybody was sipping tea with their pinkies up and talking about the stock market and what college such and such went to and what job this person has and da-da-da. JD, how are you? Jesse, how are you doing? How are you? This, that, and the other. How are you holding up at this? What decisions are you making in your life? And da-da-da. And 20 minutes after that, I drove to Tower Grove Park, which is a 20-minute drive away. And Shondo, my best friend's family, who he grew up with grandmother in the house, aunts and uncles in the house, all of that. And next door to us, and I get there and I get called the N-word 20 times. I get told, you better go speak to Ma. You better go say hi. You see who's in town, this, that, and the other. And we shooting dice. We talking about what we going to wear tonight. We're going to do this, that, and the other. And I recognized at one moment, I just had this chill and looked around. It was like, wow, I get to experience those two things that are 20-minute drive apart. Mm-hmm. And they seem worlds apart. Yep. The language is different. The energy is different. Mm-hmm. And I got to experience them both and experience the good about them both and just see that. And I'm like, yeah, because I got this, that so many people don't have this experience, I have to do something with it. It's not even a choice anymore. It's a purpose.
Yeah, my man. Boy, I better receive this message, man. JD dropping some pearls, dude. And no, man, this man is so cool running back into you, man.
Yes, for sure.
We started playing tennis together so many years ago. JD actually had a tennis company that I used to got to work for, man. Used to go out there and teach these tennis lessons to them kids, man. That was the good old days, man. Yeah. And I run into Cam every now and then too.
Yeah.
And I still play, but man, it has been an awesome time, brother, rapping with you, man.
Likewise,
this is kick ass, man. And y'all better get this message, man. I'm telling you, because it's a lot of good that needs to be done in the world, but we can't be afraid to do the work. Right. We can't be afraid to do the work, man. And like
it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
And he's made many examples of what it's gonna take. It may be a little uncomfortable, but guess what? You hurt yourself, you're going to get uncomfortable before you get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, let's hurry up and get the uncomfortable shit out the way.
Out the way.
You
Yeah,
know,
let's work
I'd
through
rather
that.
just be uncomfortable for a little bit of time, man. So we
Yeah.
can get to the comfort part.
Yes.
Just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's not do this thing slowly and gradually. Let's everybody understand that, one, we all have to be better. And two,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to help your fellow man.
Absolutely.
It's okay to not fit the normal standards. It's okay to be the one, if you're the one in your family to sit here and stand up to racism. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be that one, because trust me, it's a lot of other people out here just like us, man, that feel the same way, that will help, mentor, counsel in any way that we can. Don't be scared. Do not. Right. And understand that, one, the right thing to do is always the right thing to do. Two, the right thing to do is always the right thing to do. What you got, JD? Pearls of wisdom, man. Leave them with something, man.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, one of the things that I learned from being around Black culture is, because they're not focused so much on control, being the best version of yourself comes naturally. And of course, there's a lot of trash talking and all of that, but it's done in love. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I wish I could shift about white people's approach and what we've learned is, positioning yourself doesn't lead to happiness. Being the best version of yourself, doing that right thing is the right thing. That's what leads to true, joy and contentment. And it's a much more enjoyable experience on that other side than it is playing these games of individualism and positioning ourselves so we can control resources to win. Because we're not winning. This isn't a chessboard. We can play tennis and let's try and win on that. But afterwards, recognize that grass is growing because of something bigger than us. And that's it.
There you go. Hey, y'all. Hey, don't forget, pick up JD's book, Race for What, man. www.raceforwhat.com. Check that out. Your 7 steps is on there. It's absolutely imperative that you support, help, and educate yourself, because education is the way. JD, It's been a world of fun, brother. We're going to reach out again. We're going to do this again. I'm going to have a surprise for you next time. So I'm going to have 3 of us on here. All right. And it's going to be a surprise who that is, my brother.
Well, next time we go out to eat, we're going to have another surprise. So
there you go. Good. There you go. I appreciate it, man. All right, bro. Be easy.
Take care.
Peace.